During World War II, armorers and experimenters created one-off firearms, strange conversions, and prototypes, often surviving only in archives. Early on Germany's experimental and workshop one-offs, 22 LR converted Luger P08. This one-off Luger P08 was rechambered to .22 LR for safe training purposes. It retained original ergonomics but allowed low recoil practice for recruits. Crews and armorers noted its precision and the unusual conversion, making it a rare archival example of German ingenuity. Luger P08. A single Luger P08 was fitted with a detachable wooden stock to test increased stability for aimed fire. This unusual conversion improved accuracy but added bulk. Only one prototype was produced, surviving today as a rare museum artifact. Luger Carbine Cut Down. This Luger P08 carbine prototype featured an extended barrel and custom stock, intended to combine pistol portability with rifle-like range. Only a single example was built, tested briefly in the field, and preserved as a unique experimental firearm from World War II. MP40. A single MP40 was modified to accept dual magazines, aiming to increase sustained fire without reloading. The prototype showed reliability issues but demonstrated creative German engineering. This rare one-off exists only in archival records and museum collections. MP38. This unique MP38 prototype tested a partially folding receiver to improve portability for airborne troops. The mechanism proved mechanically complex and fragile under field conditions. Only one example was assembled, reflecting German experimentation with compact automatic weapons. FG-42. This early FG-42 series rifle was hand-built for testing before standardization. It explored a radical layout combining rifle accuracy with automatic fire. Paratrooper evaluators reported strong recoil and balance issues, leading designers toward later revisions. TG-44. This single STG-44 was fitted with an experimental side-mounted sniper optic to evaluate intermediate cartridge accuracy at range. The mount proved awkward and fragile under recoil. Only one test rifle was documented, remaining a rare example of late-war experimentation. GWR 43. This rare GWR 43 trial variant experimented with a roller-locking mechanism to improve reliability and reduce recoil. Testing revealed manufacturing complexity outweighed benefits. Only one rifle was assembled, surviving as evidence of late-war German small arms experimentation. Mauser K98K. This single Mauser K98K bullpup conversion relocated the action behind the trigger to shorten overall length. While balance improved in confined spaces, awkward ergonomics and complex controls halted further development, leaving it a unique workshop experiment. Turning next to United Kingdom's arsenal and field one-offs. Sten. This experimental Sten variant replaced its metal furniture with wooden components to improve handling and shooter comfort. The modification increased weight without significant performance gains. Only a single example was produced, reflecting British attempts to refine the crude submachine gun design. Sten suppressed prototype. This one-off suppressed Sten prototype tested early sound reduction concepts before the WWII carbine. Armorers experimented with baffles and ported barrels, achieving limited noise reduction. The design informed later British suppressed weapons but never entered production. WWII carbine. This first experimental WWII carbine was hand-built to test extreme sound suppression using a ported barrel and integrated suppressor. Field trials showed remarkable quietness. Its success directly shaped the final production WWII design. Lee Enfield bullpup. This single Lee Enfield bullpup conversion relocated the action rearward to shorten the rifle for armored and airborne troops. While compact, awkward trigger linkage and reloading difficulties frustrated testers, ending the experiment after limited trials. Webley revolver. This experimental Webley revolver was fitted with a detachable wooden carbine stock to improve accuracy at longer ranges. Trials showed better control but limited practical advantage, leaving the concept abandoned after a single documented example. Welgun. This early Welgun prototype featured an unconventional magazine feed angle to improve reliability in automatic fire. Test firing revealed inconsistent feeding under stress. Only one prototype was assembled, representing Britain's experimental approach to compact airborne submachine guns. Moving forward to United States prototype and conversion oddities. M1911.22 LR. This experimental M1911 conversion replaced the standard .45 ACP setup with a .22 LR upper for low-cost training. Armorers evaluated recoil control and accuracy. The prototype proved practical but was never standardized beyond limited testing. Thompson SMG. This single Thompson prototype used an experimental aluminum receiver to reduce weight for airborne use. While handling improved, durability suffered during sustained fire. The concept was abandoned after trials, leaving one documented example of American wartime experimentation. M1 Garand Bullpup. This unique M1 Garand Bullpup conversion relocated the action behind the trigger to shorten overall length. Engineers tested it for mechanized troops. Poor trigger feel and awkward maintenance ended the experiment after a single prototype. M1 Carbine. This single M1 Carbine prototype tested an experimental select fire mechanism before standardization. Engineers evaluated controllability and mechanical wear during automatic fire. The design proved unreliable, influencing later refinements but remaining a solitary test example. High-standard HD suppressed trial pistol. This experimental high-standard HD pistol was fitted with an early suppressor to evaluate silent close-range use. Engineers tested porting and baffle designs during trials. While promising, the prototype remained a single example used solely for evaluation. Rising SMG with alternative locking system test. This experimental Rising submachine gun tested an alternative locking system intended to improve reliability in harsh environments. Trials revealed increased complexity without meaningful gains. Only one prototype was assembled, representing a brief American attempt to refine the troubled design. Johnson Rifle. This cut-down Johnson rifle variant was modified for jungle warfare, featuring a shortened barrel and reduced weight. Field testing focused on handling in dense terrain. Limited accuracy and excessive muzzle blast ended the experiment after a single example. Now stepping into Japan's arsenal experiments and rare prototypes. Type 14 Nambu.22. This experimental Type 14 Nambu was converted to Fire .22 LR for economical training use. Armorers evaluated handling and mechanical reliability with reduced recoil. The conversion remained a single documented example, never advancing beyond controlled trials. Suppressed Nambu. This rare suppressed Nambu prototype tested basic sound reduction methods for covert operations. Armorers experimented with barrel porting and a primitive suppressor. Results showed limited effectiveness, and the concept was abandoned after a single documented trial weapon. Type 100 SMG. This early Type 100 prototype experimented with a drum magazine to increase ammunition capacity. Testing revealed feeding issues and added weight affecting balance. The idea was quickly abandoned, leaving only one known prototype from Japan's wartime small arms trials. Arisaka Rifle. This experimental Arisaka rifle was cut down and modified for paratrooper use, reducing length and weight for airborne deployment. Trials showed improved portability but severe muzzle blast and reduced accuracy, halting development after a single prototype. Arisaka Bullpup. This unique Arisaka Bullpup conversion repositioned the action behind the trigger to shorten the rifle for close-quarters use. While compact, testers reported poor ergonomics and awkward reloading. The experiment ended after this single workshop-built example. Rolling into USSR and captured weapon one-offs. Tokarev TT-33. This experimental Tokarev TT-33 incorporated a manually added safety mechanism to address concerns over accidental discharge. Soviet armorers tested usability and reliability. The modification complicated the simple design, and only one prototype was ever documented. PPSH-41. This single PPSH-41 prototype replaced the standard drum with an experimental box magazine to improve reliability and reduce weight. Trials showed better handling but inconsistent feeding. The conversion was abandoned, remaining a lone Soviet workshop experiment. Mosin-Nagant. This experimental Mosin-Nagant bullpup conversion moved the bolt and magazine behind the trigger to shorten the rifle. Although compact, testers struggled with bolt operation and balance. The concept was discarded after this single, hand-built example. Captured MP40. This captured German MP40 was experimentally rechambered to fire Soviet 7.62 by 25 ammunition. Armorers tested compatibility and reliability using local supplies. Feeding and wear issues prevented adoption, leaving one documented conversion only. Captured German pistol rebarreled Soviet prototype. This single captured German pistol was rebarreled by Soviet armorers to evaluate domestic ammunition use. Trials examined pressure and cycling reliability. The experiment proved impractical, remaining an isolated technical study rather than a service weapon. Onward to extreme one-off curiosities. Triple-barrel experimental pistol. This rare triple-barrel pistol prototype explored increased firepower within a compact handgun. Designers tested sequential firing mechanisms during bench trials. Excessive complexity and recoil made it unviable, leaving only one surviving experimental example. Bolt-action trial weapon. This experimental bolt-action rifle featured an integrally suppressed barrel to minimize report for covert use. Testing confirmed excellent noise reduction but slow operation. The concept remained a single trial piece, never standardized for field service. Hand-built workshop experimental firearm. This hand-built experimental firearm was assembled by wartime armorers to test unconventional layouts and mechanisms. Never intended for mass production, it served purely as a technical exercise, surviving today only through archival documentation.